Your story changed you. Now let it change the lives of others. This is a Candy Factory Mini. So you want to write a book? With Suzette Mullen.
Join me as we follow the development of a nonfiction book from idea to completion. We'll explore the creative process as well as the nuts and bolts of pitching and publication. Get a behind-the-scenes look of my book coaching process, as well as clear takeaways and nuggets of wisdom. Let me walk alongside you as you learn to tell your story. Hello, I'm Suzette Mullen, book coach, nonfiction writer, and your host. Welcome to this episode of So You Want to Write a Book. My goal for this mini show is to break down the complex process of becoming an author so that you can finally write the book that's been rattling around your head or tugging at your heart. And what if you never planned to write a book? Well, I hope that the stories and tips I share each week will help you become a better literary citizen and a more effective writer in your personal or professional life. Do you have any questions? Gosh, I'd love to hear them. Leave them in the chat and I'll be sure to answer them next week. So go ahead, grab a pen and paper or have your phone handy to jot down some notes. And let's get started. In last week's episode, we dug into the reading habits of the American public and why this data matters to aspiring authors. We learned that print is still king over ebooks. Millennials read more books than any other generation, which surprised me as the mother of two millennials. And audiobooks are the fastest growing product in publishing. This week, we're talking about money, which, depending on your perspective, is either your most favorite or your least favorite topic to discuss. So let's divide the universe into two different kinds of writers. First, writers who don't care about making money with their books. And second, writers who do care. What category do you fall into? First, the writers who don't care, meaning money isn't their primary motivation. These are the creatives, the artists, the people who have always thought of themselves as writers. They have a story they have to share, regardless of whether they make money or sell many books. Many memoirists fall into this category. They've had a lived experience that's transformed them, that's changed them, and they have to get that story out of their head, out of their heart. And hopefully, some people will read and buy their books, but making money is not why they write. To be clear about this category of writers, it's not that they're opposed to making money, it's just that money isn't what's driving them. They'd write even if they didn't make a single dime. And many of them will spend many, many dimes to help them write the best book they can. They'll attend writing conferences, they'll hire book coaches like me, they'll hire editors, and they'll spend money on self-publishing and marketing. Their return on investment is not measured in dollars. It's measured in the satisfaction of holding their book in their hands and seeing other readers holding that book in their hands too. This is largely me as I approach the finish line with my memoir, which I'm currently titling Graveyard of Safe Choices. The worst case scenario for me is not that I won't sell a lot of books and make a lot of money. It's that I won't actually finish my book and publish it. Accomplishing that goal, getting my story, my truth onto the page and into the hands of readers is my primary motivation. So let's talk about that second category, writers who do care about making money. So these are the entrepreneurs, the people that don't necessarily consider themselves to be writers first. They may have a business they want to grow, a brand they want to nurture, and they wonder if a book will help them achieve those goals. Is it worth the time and money and effort to write that book? What's the return on investment? I'm guessing that many of you who are watching or listening today may fall into this category. Your life will still feel complete even if you never publish a book. And yet, you'd like to write and publish that book. You have something to say, and you know that becoming a published author will level up your visibility and hopefully, in the long run, will help you make some more money. So let's get real and talk numbers. Here's how the money works with publishing. The publishing world is divided into two big camps. You have traditional publishing on one side, and on the other side you have self-publishing, which is sometimes referred to as hybrid or indie publishing. Now, with traditional publishing, the publisher assumes the financial risk up front. You do not pay to publish. The Big Five, also known as New York publishers, which are Penguin Random House, Hachette Book Group, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, and Macmillan, they pay the author what's known as an advance, which is an advance on the sales they expect from your book. A typical advance for a first-time author isn't super high. It's between about $5,000 and $10,000, although depending on the book and the topic, whether it's really a hot subject, it could be much higher. But let's say you're in that average and you receive a $7,500 advance. After you give 15% to your agent, note, an agent's almost always required for the bigger publishers. That would mean you'd earn $6,375 up front, and more if your book sells beyond the advance. So the same rules apply for smaller or independent presses like university presses. You, the author, do not pay any upfront costs, and you receive a percentage of royalty on the books that are sold. With smaller presses, sometimes there's not an advance, and if there is one, it can be as low as $500. So on the other side of the publishing universe, you have hybrid, indie, and self-publishing. You bear the costs up front, which typically start at about $2,000, but they can go much, much higher. But you keep a higher percentage of the royalties. So for example, if you publish through Amazon's self-publishing arm, KDP, you'll receive 70% of the royalties on your book sales. But here's the reality. The average US nonfiction book sells less than 250 copies per year and less than 3,000 copies over its lifetime. You, of course, can beat those odds by being savvy about marketing your book. And I'm going to recommend you buy one of these books. But when you do the math, you'll see that most authors will not make a lot of money from book sales. It's unlikely that you'll be able to buy that island in the Caribbean and sip margaritas for the rest of your days. I'm sorry, but that's the truth about book sales. So, you may be thinking, why would anyone write a book if they cared about making money? Well, here's the good news. While you're unlikely to make significant money from book sales alone, there are many other ways to make money with books. So, let's take the business coach who has a book she's self-published. It's available on Amazon as an ebook and a printed book, and she's made a few sales. However, sometimes she also gives away her book on her website in exchange for people's emails. She gives her book away. But the people who downloaded this coach's free book become aware of her consulting services and training programs, And eventually, some of them buy those training programs and consulting services. She brings in multiple six-figure revenues because her book became part of her brand, part of her sales funnel. So, as an entrepreneur, start thinking less about book sales and more about how a book can fit into your long-range growth strategy. Think about how you can build and deepen relationships with readers who may ultimately convert to be clients. Think about your own experiences. You start with the book first. It's a low investment. Maybe it's even a giveaway. This book, Your First 1,000 Copies by Tim Grahl, cost me $10.89. So you like what the author has to say. You go to their website. You check out their offerings. The book has brought you into their universe. You join their email list. And the next thing you know, you're buying an online course from them. You're thinking about doing some private coaching with them. That happened to me. I bought the online course and I'm still thinking about some private coaching. Book sales and giveaways can lead to new clients, to expert status, and to speaking gigs. When's the last time you heard a prominent speaker who didn't also have a book? So don't write a book to make money on book sales. Write a book to start a conversation. With my memoir, Graveyard of Safe Choices, I want to start a conversation with women at midlife about listening to and trusting their inner voices. And even though my primary motivation isn't financial, I do hope that some of my readers will go to my website and check out my book coaching offerings. And I hope that my book will help me get more speaking engagements that will further level up my profile as not only an author, but also a book coach who specializes in working with women at midlife. So I hope you're starting to see how it's all connected. As you publicize and market your book, you're publicizing and marketing your business. What's the conversation you'd like to start with your book? And who'd you like to start it with? So here are the key takeaways from today. Number one, understand what's driving you to write your book and the role that money is playing in that motivation. Number two, if money isn't what's driving you to write your book, relax. The satisfaction of getting your story out into the world, of holding your book in your hands, is a totally legitimate way of thinking about your return on investment. And if you're motivated about money, by money, be realistic about what you can expect from book sales alone, and think of your book in the broader context as part of building your brand. Now, but before I preview next week's show, I want to talk a bit more about a challenge that can help you jumpstart your writing. NANOWRIMO, which stands for National Novel Writing Month. The challenge? Write 50,000 words of a novel or a memoir or other nonfiction book during the 30 days of November. Now, is this even possible? You may be wondering. Well, yes, it is. I did it in 2012, even starting 9 days late. Ever the competitor, I divided 50,000 words by the remaining days in the month, 21, to determine my daily writing goal, 2,381 words. Every day, I sat my butt in the chair until I reached at least 2,381 words. Was it easy? No. But was it doable? Yes. If you're interested in learning more about how you could set yourself up for success during NaNoWriMo, go ahead and shoot me an email at hello@yourstoryfinder.com. Next week, we're talking about author platform, which I've given you a little hint at right here. We'll talk about what is it, how important is it, and what are the top 3 steps you can take to start building your platform. I look forward to seeing you then, and I invite you to share the mini show link with your friends. If there are any questions you'd like me to answer or topics you want me to cover in the coming weeks, please shoot me that email at hello@yourstoryfinder.com. And in the meantime, happy reading and writing. So You Want to Write a Book is part of the Candy Factory mini-series and is a proud member of the Candy Factory Collective. You can find the show streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And you can subscribe to the audio version anywhere you get your podcasts.
Over the past 8 years, Suzette has been on a mission to help writers clear the fog and cut through the overwhelm so they can move their ideas out of their head and onto the page.
Her later in life coming out journey and her professional experience as an author, accelerator, certified book coach, and Dare to Lead trained professional, as well as her time at Harvard Law School, Wellesley College, and Columbia Theological Seminary, have given her a unique perspective, as well as many of her own stories to tell.
When she's not writing or coaching other writers, Suzette can be found on her yoga mat,
advocating for the Lancaster LGBTQ+ coalition,
or hanging out with her partner, Wendy, and their rescue pup, Lucy.
Visit yourstoryfinder.com to learn more about Suzette and her life story, as well as her writing coach offerings.
Life's too short to stay stuck, so why not write that book?
So You Want to Write a Book is produced by the Candy Factory Collective at the Candy Factory Co-working Campus in Lancaster, PA.
Production support by Anna Tran. Administrative support by Ann Kirby, Ariana Henderson, Krisha Marcel, Jason Mundock, and Robert Diggs. Notes and links can be found on the show post at our website, candyfactorycollective.com. Candy Factory.
Collective.